he mentioned the virginal conception of Christ, if I may just say a word about that when Joseph discovered that Mary was pregnant, he didn't suddenly believe in a miracle. He wanted to divorce her. Why? Because he knew exactly as we do where babies come from. He wasn't stupid.
Here's an interesting segment of debate between late Christopher Hitchens and John Lennox. Hitchens presents the case that the Old Testament prophecies that were fulfilled in the life of Jesus was tailored by the evangelists to fit in with the story of the Messiah. Hitchens also made the audacious statement that Jesus never claimed to be God. Watch how John Lennox calmly responds to his false assumptions.
A virgin will conceive, for example, is another one, though the word in Hebrew, alma, actually just means marriageable young woman, doesn't mean unpenetrated young female at all. But it's all reverse engineering. It says right there in the text, we're telling you this happened because that would mean that the prophecies had come true. So I think you might suspect a little, mightn't you, someone who's telling you literally as they're going along why they're telling you this so that the conditions of prophecy fulfillment can be met. But there's a much graver problem even than that naivete, which is that these prophecies are of a Jewish Messiah to come. And the Jewish religious authorities of the time considered, and who were the nearest, much closer to being eyewitnesses, if the story is true at all, much closer than the authors of any of the Gospels. They were the people who were the religious authority in the area. He was a member, if he existed, of their congregation. They thought he was a sorcerer and a fraud and an impostor, and convicted him of blasphemy, because though he in fact never said that he was God, there are some Christians I know who do say that Jesus is God. There are some who say he only claimed to be the son of. The critical question is, he's asked, art thou the Christ? Are you the Messiah? And he gives a slightly evasive answer at this point, but it's enough to make the Sanhedrin rend its garments. So all you're seeing in this tale, if it be true at all, if it have any truth to it, is the origin of Jewish-Christian fratricide.
Hitchens is absolutely wrong when he states that Jesus gave an evasive answer to his identity as the Messiah, the Son of God. Jesus directly affirmed Peter's confession as revealed from heaven in Matthew 16:16. The rending of the high priest garment in Matthew 26 was in relation to blasphemy because Jesus was claiming himself of a divine status prophesied in Daniel 7:13.
And those who tell the Jews, why are you wasting your time? The good news has already happened. Why did you just get with the program? I submit that neither of these propositions is worthy of the consideration of an intelligent or educated human being. It's Bronze Age peasant Palestinian superstition.
Well, if you're going to call it Bronze Age superstition, you'd be better to get it right. Because one of your statements there is just false. Jesus claimed to be God, and they stoned him. Why did they stone him? Because you, being a man, make yourself God. The notion that he never claimed to be God is simply false. And you say prophecy is irrelevant and superstition and all of that. One of the things that I find very interesting about the Christian faith is it's not a mere philosophy. It's geared into history. And when Jesus came, there were various things that were predicted. He fulfilled them. But the biggest of all was the fact that he fulfilled ideas that had been current in Israel for centuries, that someday there would become a person who would die for his people's sins. Now that is a huge thing, of course. And it seems to me that those prophecies, when they are fulfilled, provide part of the evidence that this thing is much bigger than some little local thing happening in Palestine, although it happened there, but is geared into a whole revelation through history itself. So I don't find it a product of Bronze Age superstition. They were not superstitious in any more sense. For example, when he mentioned the virginal conception of Christ, if I may just say a word about that when Joseph discovered that Mary was pregnant, he didn't suddenly believe in a miracle. He wanted to divorce her. Why? Because he knew exactly as we do where babies come from. He wasn't stupid, nor was he pre-scientific. And it took a lot of convincing for him to accept what I believe to be the true solution, that this was a unique miracle of God encoding himself into humanity.
In fact, there are about 300 Old Testament prophecies that were fulfilled in the life and ministry of Jesus Christ. The fabrication of these many prophecies to fit in with the life of Jesus is simply impossible. Hitchens is also ignorant of the fact that when the evangelist Matthew uses the word virgin in his gospel, he was quoting from the Septuagint rather than the actual Hebrew Bible. To this end, we can be assured that most of the so-called Bible controversies can be clearly understood if we are willing to open our minds to search for the answers.